There's an old government hospital on the outskirts of the city, a building that has not treated a single patient in more than 20 years. Its walls are cracked, its windows are broken, and weeds grow through the parking lot as if nature is trying to erase its existence. People who live nearby avoid even looking at it after sunset. They say the hospital was shut down after a series of unexplained incidents. Patients complaining about seeing someone standing in the corridors at night, even though no staff member was there. Officially, the hospital closed due to structural damage. Unofficially, it closed because too many people were afraid to stay inside. Hamza, a documentary filmmaker who specialized in exploring abandoned places, had heard about the hospital many times. Unlike others, he wasn't interested in ghost stories. He was interested in atmosphere. He believed fear came from silence, from emptiness, from the way the human mind fills in gaps. When he decided to film inside the abandoned hospital for his next long-form video, he told his viewers that he would prove there was nothing supernatural about the place. Buildings don't remember, he said confidently. People do. He arrived just before midnight. The moon was hidden behind thick clouds, and the streetlights near the hospital flickered weakly. As he stepped out of his car, he noticed how quiet the area was. No passing vehicles, no barking dogs. Even the wind seemed distant. The hospital's main entrance doors were made of glass, but most of the glass panels were shattered. He carefully stepped through the opening and entered the lobby. The air inside was cold and stale. The reception desk still stood in the center, covered in dust. Papers were scattered across the floor, as if someone had left in a hurry. A wheelchair lay tipped over near the wall. Hamza turned on his camera and began recording. His footsteps echoed unnaturally loud, bouncing off the tiled walls and ceiling. The sound lingered longer than it should have, as if the building were repeating his movements a second later. He moved down the main corridor. The hallway seemed longer than it looked from outside. Doors lined both sides, patient rooms, operating theaters, storage areas. Most of them were open. Inside, the rooms were empty except for rusty beds and broken cabinets. Everything looked ordinary in the way abandoned places often do, but there was something strange about the corridor itself. No matter how far he walked, the end of it seemed distant. After several minutes, Hamza stopped and looked behind him. The entrance doors were no longer visible. He frowned, assuming he had simply walked farther than expected. "It's just perspective," he muttered to himself. To test it, he placed a small piece of tape on the wall beside him as a marker. Then he continued walking forward. The lights above him suddenly flickered. Not all at once, just one after another, like something moving through the ceiling. The flickering followed him for a few seconds before stopping. Hamza paused. The silence pressed against his ears again. He turned around to head back toward the entrance. That's when he noticed something impossible. The piece of tape he had placed on the wall was still in front of him. He hadn't moved past it. Confused, he looked down at the floor, checking for signs that he had turned around without realizing it. But his footprints in the dust showed only one direction, forward. His breathing became slightly uneven. He walked past the tape again, counting his steps this time. 10 steps, 20, 30. The corridor still did not end. Instead, the walls seemed subtly different now. The paint was darker. The doors were older. Some of the room numbers were missing. He felt as though he had crossed into a different part of the building, though he had never turned. Then he heard it, a distant sound of a hospital monitor beeping. Slow, steady, rhythmic. Beep, beep, beep. Hamza froze. The hospital had no electricity. He had confirmed that earlier. The sound was faint but unmistakable. It was coming from one of the rooms ahead. Against his better judgment, he followed the sound. Each step felt heavier than the last. The beeping grew louder. He stopped outside a closed door. Unlike the others, this one was shut tightly. A faint light glowed from underneath it. His hand trembled slightly as he reached for the handle. "There's a logical explanation," he whispered, more to convince himself than anyone else. He pushed the door open. Inside the room stood a single hospital bed in the center. The sheets were clean, impossibly clean compared to the rest of the building. Beside the bed was a heart monitor, switched on, displaying a steady heartbeat on the screen. But the bed was empty. The beeping continued. Beep, Beep, beep. Hamza slowly stepped inside. The air felt colder here, sharp against the skin. He circled the bed, inspecting it carefully. There were no wires connected to any patient, no power cables running to the machine. Yet the monitor remained active. Suddenly, the door behind him slammed shut. The monitor's rhythm changed. Beep, 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 faster. Hamza rushed to the door and tried to pull it open. It wouldn't move. His reflection in the dark screen of the monitor caught his attention. For a brief second, he thought he saw someone standing behind him. He turned quickly. No one. When he looked back at the monitor, the screen no longer showed a heartbeat. It showed a flat line. A long, continuous tone filled the room. The sound drilled into his ears. Then, slowly, new lines began forming on the screen. But they weren't heartbeats. They were shapes. Letters. The screen was spelling something out. Stay. The lights went out completely. Hamza's camera continued recording in night vision. In the green glow, the hospital bed no longer appeared empty. A figure was lying on it now, perfectly still. Its body was covered with a sheet. The outline was unmistakably human. Hamza stepped back, shaking his head. "This isn't real," he whispered. The sheet slowly began to rise and fall, as if something underneath it was breathing. The monitor started beeping again, matching the rhythm of the breathing. Hamza felt the corridor outside calling to him, as if escape were possible if he just reached it. He grabbed the door handle once more. This time it opened. He ran into the corridor without looking back. But the corridor was no longer the same. The walls were darker. The lights were completely off. And at the far end of the hallway, he could see a silhouette standing motionless. It was tall, too tall. Its head nearly touched the ceiling. Hamza slowly stepped backward. The silhouette did not move, but the corridor around it seemed to stretch, bending unnaturally. The distance between them shrank, without the figure taking a single step. His camera battery warning flashed. 5%. He turned and ran in the opposite direction, desperate to find the entrance. The corridor twisted, doors appearing where there had been none before. Some doors were now covered in scratch marks. Others had handprints smeared across them. Behind him, he heard footsteps, not running, walking, slow, calm, certain. He didn't dare look back. Finally, he saw what looked like the hospital lobby ahead. Relief flooded through him. He sprinted toward it and burst through the main entrance doors into the night air. The parking lot was empty, but his car was gone. The hospital behind him was silent again. When authorities later reviewed the recovered camera footage found lying in the middle of the corridor, they saw something Hamza never did. In the final seconds of the video, as he ran toward the exit, the camera briefly captured the ceiling above him. The corridor wasn't stretching. It was folding, and dozens of dark figures were crawling across the ceiling, following him the entire time. The video ended with the sound of a single hospital monitor beeping steadily in the background. To this day, the hospital still stands abandoned. Locals say that if you walk inside at night, the corridor seems normal at first, but if you keep walking long enough, you'll notice something terrifying. You never reach the end, and sometimes, if you listen carefully, you can hear a heartbeat that doesn't belong to you